Hi, I'm Hillary, and I'm going to talk to everybody today about what's going on. Now, I started my little journey into activism, I guess, whatever it is you want to call this that I'm doing, as a result of actually two bad Baker Acts. For those of you that don't know, in the state of Florida, we have a mental health law. It's named after, I believe the woman's name was Maxine Baker, in 1971. And this law was intended to actually keep people out of the hospital. It was intended to not deprive people of their most precious possession, which is their liberty. Now, this law, like many other laws here and around the country, has been taken and twisted and used as coercion and punishment to enforce the edicts of the ever-encroaching nanny state. When America was founded, a woman asked Ben Franklin what kind of what kind of government we had, and he answered her, "A republic, if you can keep it." And those were some very prophetic words. It took less than 100 years for our republic to devolve into a banker-controlled democracy. If you don't really understand what democracy is, it is two wolves and a sheep arguing about what's for dinner. And since that point in time, we have devolved even further into a corporatocracy. Now, that's not a word you're going to find in the Oxford English Dictionary. But basically the idea of it is that we are a government controlled by not only the banking cabal, but by corporations. And you are nothing more than a means to make money. That's all we are. We are the peon source of wealth. And our government has formed into this almost superhuman deity, and statism has become a cult that says the God government has the legitimate right to rule over and forcibly control other people, and God government issues us commandments in the form of laws that we, the mortal people, must follow. And if we do not follow the commandments, then we are sinners and we deserve to be punished. And God government enforces its rule over us by the sword. And the form that this sword takes is the police officer, unfortunately. We have gone from the idea of voluntary policing of ourselves to the idea that because these people have dressed up in a special uniform and received authority over us by God government, that they have the right to hurt us and steal from us and throw us into cages if we resist. And they don't have to answer for that morally because they're just representing the state. So they don't have to look themselves in the mirror and say, forget about the fact that is this legal for me to do? Is it right? It may be within my authority to take a 10-year-old child that is not immediately listening to me and throw him into a hospital, but is it morally the right thing to do? And what long-term impact does that kind of attitude have? if the police officers want to know why there's a perceived war going on, maybe you should look yourselves in the mirror and ask yourselves that question. Why is it that you are losing the hearts and the minds of the people? Now, I want to get specific for a few minutes. About a week or so ago, almost 2 weeks ago now, I stood outside of Charlotte High and I protested abuse of the Baker Act. And we did get a small write-up in the newspaper. Now, despite the fact that video and other evidence exists, the staff writer for the newspaper took the police report, basically only quoted documents provided by the Punta Gorda Police Department, and their IA report did not take any of the documentation that I have, did not mention any of the videos that I showed her, stating that maybe, just maybe, wasn't quite like that. But anyway, what I want to point out is that spokesperson for the Charlotte County Public Schools, Mr. Mike Riley, tells the newspaper that Baker Act is always the last option, and that they try to let the parents know what's going on as quickly as possible. There are times when a student is Baker Acted, most often by law enforcement, but at times by licensed mental health staff, and the parent is contacted only after the SRO is left to transport the student. I'm going to call Bravo Sierra on that right off the bat. I spoke to another parent today. His child was Baker Acted from Punta Gorda Middle School in April, so actually before my son. And he didn't get a call from the school. He didn't get a call from the police. What he got was a call from the crisis unit requesting a credit card for a $3,000 deposit because they didn't take his insurance. That's how he found out his daughter was there. It actually took him several days and an attorney to get his daughter out. I got lucky. I had video. I have documents. I have proof. My son was released in 5 minutes. He didn't meet criteria for Baker Act. According to Florida Statute 394.463, involuntary examination states, a person is refused voluntary examination after conscientious explanation and disclosure of the purpose of the examination. For a minor, the only person that can do this is a parent or guardian, by the way. And it says that a person has to be suffering from a mental illness, and that the sole purpose cannot be strictly because of a developmental disability such as autism, or simply the result of antisocial behavior like throwing a temper tantrum, or telling a school resource officer to go fornicate themselves. And that without the Florida Statute 394.463 on involuntary examination states that it is not apparent that such harm, a person has to be a threat of being harmed to themselves or others. And according to the statute, it must be apparent that such harm may be avoided through the help of willing family members or friends or the provision of other services. Now, as I said, I call Bravo Sierra. How do you know that there's a willing family member or friends if you don't call them until after the person is already hospitalized, after the process has already begun, when there's no other way out, and you have deprived this person, this child, of their liberty, their freedom? Now, the state of Florida says compulsory attendance, age 6 to 16. If I don't make my child go to school 180 days a year, if they have more than 15 or so unexcused absences out of those 180 days, that I can be kidnapped, I can be thrown into a cage, I can have my license to drive taken away from me, and I can be forced to pay extortion to the state, to the God government, in the form of fines. So they want to hold me responsible for the actions of my child. But yet, they don't want to feel that I'm responsible enough to take care of my own child in what they believe to be a mental health crisis. Now, according to what I found, what I believe is the school resource officer for Punta Gorda Middle School, which is Officer Anthony Pribble. And if that's not who you are, sir, I apologize, but according to what you were quoted in the newspaper, it's helpful to have parents there as soon as possible, since they know their children better and can tell whether they're crying wolf to get attention or are actually in danger. Now, when my son was Baker acted on May the 16th, school psychologist Wendy Medrick pulled him out of internal suspension and spoke with him on and off for more than 3 hours. If she had bothered to pick up a phone, to call me up, say, Miss Kasey, we're worried about your child, we think you need to do something, I'd have been at that school in about 15 minutes. And I know my son. I conceived him. My husband and I conceived him, and I carried him, and I gave birth to him. And I've put 16 years worth of blood, sweat, and tears into him. I've had more than one sleepless night taking care of that boy, as well as his brothers. I know my son better than you do. And I would have been there. I'd have been there in a heartbeat. And if I believed that he was really in danger of harming himself, or if I really thought that he was going to go on some kind of psychotic rampage, you bet your sweet ass I'd have took him to the hospital myself. So for you, Miss Medrick, to make a mountain out of a molehill, shame on you. Now, I'd like to point out that the officer that actually did the Baker Act, he witnessed my son fighting for his freedom and then had a conversation with Miss Medrick. So it was based on hearsay and the result of my child being jumped on by 5 grown men. My son received a death threat at school. Did I say that before? He received a death threat. He was caught writing a response on the wall. The response didn't have a death threat to the other child in it. It said, "Come get me. Come on, come get me." Now, back to the point at hand. I have an actual Baker Act form. Got it right here. This is the form that has to be filled out in order to kidnap somebody and put them in a mental hospital. And while there is a section here, information for law enforcement, it's not really supposed to be done by law enforcement alone. And it's supposed to be filled out by a psychiatrist, a physician that's a non-psychiatrist, a clinical psychologist, a psychiatric nurse, a clinical social worker, or a licensed mental health counselor. Now, let me get my notes out. In order to be a mental health counselor, it requires 4 years bachelor's degree in psychology, education, or related field, and a 1 to 2 years master's program, and may require a 1-year internship, depending on the program. in order to be a psychologist, not able to prescribe medication. That requires an undergraduate degree, 4 to 5 years college, plus a doctorate in psychology, which is 4 to 7 years of graduate school. For this specialty area, most people will spend between 8 to 12 years in higher education. To be a psychiatrist, MD, the kind that can prescribe drugs, again, 4 to 5 years college. Then you got another 4 years of med school and 4 years of residency. So again, you're looking at minimum 12 years of higher education. Now, police officer, in order to Baker Act, well, let's start with just to be a police officer. Minimum requirements for the state of Florida is to be age 19, to be able to pass the physical abilities test. The physical abilities test, in order to be able to pass it, is basically to show some improvement between your first test and your graduation. Just improve. You pass. Then you have to do 770 hours of police academy training. This can be accomplished in roughly 6 to 8 months of full-time attendance. According to the National School Resource Officers Association, to be certified as a school resource officer requires 40 hours of block training. Crisis intervention, 80 hours. Now, according to the IA report, let me back up. According to Officer Farley on video, physical violence against my son was initiated because he tried to leave the room. He did not swing on the officer. He tried to leave the room, at which point Officer Chow, of course, escalated into violence because just doing his job, he has to restrain my child for his own good because he's being Baker Acted for receiving a death threat and for telling Officer Chow to go fornicate with himself. Officer Chow is a skilled, certified school resource officer and has advanced training in juvenile law, counseling skills, development of a referral network, identification and ways to handle exceptional students, and classroom training techniques. Unfortunately, Solon's aggressive actions, telling Officer Chow to go fornicate with himself and trying to leave the room, resulted in a fight between himself and Officer Chow prior to any substantial dialogue occurring between the two of them. Once Solon was taken into custody, Officer Joseph Farley took over the handling of the case. Based upon his own observations of Solon's aggressive actions, Solon repeatedly tried to escape. All over the place in here. He was trying to escape. He was trying to get away. He was trying to get out of the handcuffs. He was trying to get the handcuffs in front of him. He was trying to get the handcuffs off. He was trying to leave the room. He was trying to escape. Based on his own observations of Solon's aggressive actions, dialogue with School Resource Officer Chow, and dialogue with school psychologist, hearsay, Solon met criteria for Baker Act and was thrown into a mental hospital. This is the nanny state, folks. This is the true believer of the God government exercising his authority over even our children. If you dare to disobey, if you dare to cause friction, if you dare to step out of line, they have the right to forcibly restrain you. They have the right to take you to a hospital against your will, and to do so without involving your legal representative, because in this case it was a child. Our founding fathers are rolling in their graves. We have these Antifa snowflake nut jobs trying to erase history by pulling down statues of Robert E. Lee because they find the Civil War offensive. Hitler did that. ISIS does that. Real patriots, real believers in freedom need to stand up and resist. It's okay to resist. The God government isn't real. It's okay to resist.
I do a risk assessment to make sure he didn't want to harm himself or someone else. And I met with him. We had a good talk. He had his lunch. But he still could not say that he would not harm Justin, who saw him. And I asked him if he wanted to harm himself. He said, you know what, every day I want to harm myself. I said, you know what, you don't have to feel that way. We talked about the possibility of medication, but I said, hey, that's between you and the doctor and your parent. He said, you were angry because, I said, well, why is she angry? He said, because I'm seeing Lauren. I said, okay. I just want him to be okay. I just want him to be with him. He is okay. Okay, good.
Y'all, the school, the resource officer, escalate situations that don't need to be escalated when things could be handled with a simple phone call to me. Now, leaving a message on my cell phone when I am not able to answer it is not communicating with me. Asking me to return a phone call, and when I do, no one answers it or returns that call is not communicating with me.
I didn't leave you a message.
Miss Chamberlain did.
I'm sorry that she didn't.
Checked out for Baker Act. I'm CIT certified, which means I'm the one that does all Baker Act and anything to do with mental illness or drugs. I went to a special class. So.
Any kind of physical contact with my son.
Okay, your son actually brought it up to that level of escalation.
How did he bring it up to that level of escalation? What did he do?
Okay, he was being detained as Baker Act. We had to evaluate him for his mental status.
So the officer informed him that he was being Baker acted, placed his hands upon my son, at which time my son began to fight back.
No, not at all.
Hey, Sheriff, we have a question about why your office, your intelligence division, is investigating private citizens for criminal investigation that happen to be activists that are overseeing your department. Why would you have your intelligence division investigate private citizens? We have done... Sir, we don't hate anyone. We love freedom and we love American people. And government is out of control. That's why you're seeing such a revolt nationwide. Why can't you just answer, why is Susan Edwards, your intelligence division, investigating private citizens? This should not happen.
Are you here to apply for a job?
Possibly I might be applying for a job, but that's irrelevant to my question. Why would you ask that question?
Well, enjoy the fair.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Excuse you?
Excuse me, sir.
So those of you that haven't
Wow.
been on a bike before, we're
Sheriff's
just
getting a little too pushy. You work for us, Sheriff. Just keep that in mind. At one time we respected you, but not with that type of attitude.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I've found that I had to make a change this ending on my videos, letting you know about the channel and fair use laws, you know, how we can report on other people's reporting and how it's good, how it's bad, etc. But you guys can look it up yourself. It is legal. It's in there. But like I've told you before, that I've been cut off from making money on YouTube for 4 years. It's really weird, bizarre, but they cut the money off, but they said you can keep the channel, and now YouTube makes all the money. And if you get bored, plug it into Social Blade website, and you'll see that they are making a huge amount off the site. Right now it's at 63 million views, 53,000 subscribers, almost 3 million views a month. You know, trying to wake people up, and I make nothing. In fact, I got a customer that's ex-congressman. He said if I could ever find a lawyer, sue YouTube on it. But because this is nuts, 4 hours a day, and to save America. You know, but at the same time, it's worth it. Look at what our founding fathers did. They died for this country. So. But getting back to the money part, this is why I'm redoing the video. Is my dream of everyone giving $1, and it's going to be $53,000 a year, or if they did Patreon, which you know, can be monthly. That is not working. That'd be great if it did. Nothing is perfect. And I appreciate the people that do donate, you know, what they can on PayPal, and there again, I'm letting you guys know that is not much. It is, you know, monthly is, oh my god. So anyways, yes, you cannot live on it. It's very, very, very low amount. But the dollar things, I do appreciate that, but when I first said everybody give $1, that's not working. I'm just letting you guys know it's, yeah, that dream, everybody gives $1. 53,000 subscribers, it's not working. So yes, if you can give more than that, you know, I appreciate it. Like I said, you know, I'm in a unique situation where, you know, we're already debt free, and I'm not rich, but with the little business that we have, I am able to do what I am able to do 45 hours a day, you know, letting you guys know what's going on. In 4 years, I've did the whole thing myself. 12,000 videos on there. I literally get emails where people are like, holy crap, I never knew it was this bad. And it is this bad, and it's getting worse every day because we have the internet, we have cell phones, we have cameras everywhere now, and it's just disgusting what's going on. And then, as you guys know too, we got Trump, we got Jeff Sessions doing a war on drugs, and now he wants to go after the forfeiture laws again. It's just unfreaking real. So if you can give more than that dream of everybody giving $1, yeah, that old video, that's not working. They're not. They're just not. So anyways, if you can give more than that dream is not working. Hardly anybody is giving. There you go. So that's why I'm remaking the video. If you can give more than that would be great. And there again, like I said, the Patreon's there. There is some people on there that are starting to give, but there again, it's very, very low. And like I said, I don't want to get rich off of that. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because, you know, it's still so stinking corrupt. It's not even funny. My court case that I'm going to be paying out of my pocket myself with Charlotte County's coming up. They illegally looked me up and then posted all my information on LEOAFFAIRS website. They basically doxed me, however you want to say that. I forget what the word is, and they outed me, man. And that information on that site went out to 500 sheriffs, deputies, people that work at the jail, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, it is very, very scary, but we're going to do a federal case, 1983 case, violating freedom of speech. We have 17 cameras in the house now. We got 2 cameras in the car. I always carry a camera plus a cell phone. A lot of people are highly recommending I get a vest now. If I could, if the wife would let me, I would run for sheriff. We are trying to push the thing nationwide right now. Where just to mix it up and to get the topics out there is register to run for sheriff, NPA, no party affiliation, as a write-in, and that is completely free, and you can participate in the elections. And there's a lot of stuff. We got a guy, James McLinnis in Pinellas County, Tampa, who almost won. He experienced the corruption himself. The story is unbelievable. Look him up. It's mind-blowing what they did. It pissed him off. He is very, very smart. He has way more money than I did. He ran for sheriff at the last 3 months last year in 2016 and almost won. He got all of the black vote. And the reason why he did that is because he ran in, I will not bust, we're in Florida, I will not bust anybody for weed anymore unless it's an ungodly huge amount, like pounds. And then he also ran in, no more victimless crimes, no more of this freaking road pirate bull crap. And then he was going to cut the budget by 30%. And when you think about that, you can. If you stop the road pirates, you can get rid of a bunch of people. Gone. So, the wife has been saying, yes, I can, yes, I can't. So I don't know. We're trying to find somebody that can do it because I am busy doing this anyways. But, so I'm making a video, like I said, that $1 a month from everybody, you know, for 53,000 subscribers, that is not working. I'm just letting you guys know. Absolutely give way more than $1 a month. If you can, I appreciate anything. By the way, remember too, when you give that, PayPal takes like freaking 15 to 20%, so it's even worse than that. But, and there again, like I'm letting you guys know, it's way, what I get is very, very low. Appreciate it, but it is very, very low. Can't live on it. I'm just, you know, I'm working, and that's what I'm working on. And that court case is going to cost a buttload of money. That's federal court. Just the filing fees and the depositions that we're going to be doing with this corrupt cop. So there's another reason to give. We are going to be doing a deposition with this very corrupt. He was in a drug squad. He is a bad guy. He's on steroids. We heard steroids are rampant here. That's why their attitude is so bad. And we are going to get him on video, and it will be on YouTube. So that case alone is $5,000 just to bring it to court, and that's my money out of my pocket. So there's another reason to give, and give way more than $1 if you can. So keep that in mind. This is the new video, and I see, God, I talk a lot. It's already 7 minutes, but had to make it just to let you know that $1 a month from everybody is not working. They're not doing it. So if you can give more than that, please. So Thanks. Keep it up. Share, like, subscribe, tell your friends, send me your videos on corruption, and I'll post it.